Okay, so Jordan Peterson came out with an interview pretty recently called Challenges Women Face in Dating and the Problem with Settling Mentality. Okay. Now, I was a big Jordan Peterson fan when he first came on the scene. He was one of those guys that, at the time, I felt truly disenfranchised. I felt like I had no real path forward. Felt like I had no identity, and here's one of these guys that just somehow was able to weave religion, mythology, philosophy, psychology, and just like basic fucking sciences together. And he did it in lockstep with exactly the issues that men were like going through at the time. So I was one of those guys that was passionate about his work. I was one of those guys he saved. And eventually he kind of became like a cringe-like character after a while, a caricature. But again, I still remember him in his passionate, youthful, as far as as far as like 8-10 years with dude. This dude looks like he's 80 now with the shit he's gone through. But yeah, anyway. His dating stuff has always been something that can be taken in so many directions. So this is gonna be fun. All right, let's see what he says on challenges women face in dating, the challenges they face, and the problem with settling when it comes to women in our culture.
So Jordan, how does all of this affect women who need men?
Well, I think the most striking statistic that I know of is, well, the striking statistics are the two we already discussed. The radical rise in unhappiness among unmarried young women who have liberal proclivities, and the fact that 50% of women in the West now who are 30 don't have a child, and that half of those will never have a child despite wanting one. It's so dreadful.
Ain't that crazy? Through no fault of their own, man. They are just in this predicament. It's a tragedy. Honestly, it's a tragedy. And what a mystery, right? It's like, why and how? Not as if I've seen beautiful women dismiss and pass up 90% of the options at church, 90% of the options out and about. It's almost like they're willing to place their bets on something better until the very last minute, until they're damn well aged out of their prime. Nah, that ain't it.
Like, you just take those women, let's just think about them for a minute. So that means that half of women at 30 who don't have a child, half of them will search for a mate and try to have a child, let's say through their 30s, and then that won't work. And so then they'll hit 40 and they'll be alone for 50 years. Right. And the thing is, as you get older, the people that you have gathered around you, your family, become increasingly important to you and increasingly necessary. And what you do when you mature is that you start attending to other people more than you attend to yourself. That's the definition of maturity. Now, you know that as a mother, and you also know that that's a relief, right? It's that you find your purpose in that.
All right, so real quick, before we get back to our shenanigans, I want to offer some reverence and empathize with that situation, because that is a rough situation, and I know some women who are in that situation. And it's hard, okay? It's hard to see, it's hard to watch. And yet, to circle back, man, our culture does this. Our culture has been spewing that boss babe, independent girl type of nonsense for so long, as far as I can remember, at this point, a full decade, just ceaselessly. I've been dating for 9 years now. I've had like 7 to 8 girlfriends. One of them cooked for me. One. Dude, the bar is so low, and if you have a good girl who's loyal is minimally respectful, don't let her go. The grass is not greener, guys. It's not. And it's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. The bar is set that low. Okay, forget all that other wifey shit. You're in today's day and age, in the West, when it comes to modern women, you forget all that other stuff. You're not gonna get it. If she offers loyalty, good loving, that's 90% of what you're gonna get. That's it. That's it.
You know, when the lefties, they talk about marriage as a patriarchal, oppressive institution, and you know, you can be unlucky, and some women are. They find a man his mode of relation is power, and they end up subjugated, although they generally play their own part in that, because women aren't that easy to subjugate, all things considered.
No, they say you teach people how to treat you.
Yes, well, like, women have their mechanisms, and they're very effective. Let's put it that way.
That was a pretty balanced approach, considering the topics just now. Okay, you knew the patriarchy thing was gonna come. The whole male dominance thing was gonna come into play at some point. And Megan, the interviewer, definitely balanced that nicely. Okay, I gotta admit. But it frustrates me when this whole power dynamic is made to sound like it's some sort of accident, as if women aren't especially calibrated to social power, economic power, literally physical brute power, right? That isn't the exact, precise, attractive mechanisms.
Because the right question is, how do I make myself into the sort of person that's so attractive to other people that potential mates are lining up for me? That's a way different question than how do I find the person that's right for me? Like, first of all, who are you?
I like that.
And what's so special about you that how do you know that the right person wouldn't take one look at you and run away screaming if they had any sense? Like, seriously, you know, you're settling, are you? You know, look, I understand that it's necessary to be attracted to a potential partner, you know, and that women have the right and the duty to be picky. They should find a man who's going to be not a child and who's going to be very helpful to them in all ways, particularly when they have children, and who's going to be a good father. And so, hooray to women for being picky. But that's not the same thing as starting out narcissistic. You know, we talked about Snow White. Before she could find a prince, she had to learn to be of service to the dwarves. Like, that's worth thinking about. Now, you might think, well, why should we pay attention to a fairy tale? It's like, well, how about because people remembered it for 15,000 years, and that Disney just spent $250 million trying to retell it and failed?
Well, never thought I'd live long enough to see Jordan Peterson give constructive criticism to females. And God knows there's not many females watching that, okay? We all know Jordan Peterson's main audience is fucking men at this point. So, you know, either way, for what it's worth, it's nice to have some recognition in regards to, you know, one of your past intellectual heroes going, yeah, for like the past decade, I've been telling men to buck her up, bro, and do your best and do everything you can do. You know, take on the biggest load you can, responsibility and all that jazz. And then for once kind of listen to, like, perhaps, I don't know where he got some sense of this, but to recognize, whoa, all right, the female paradigm is a little warped here. And I'm thinking it's probably because of the childless 30-year-old woman that is probably finally shifting that shifting gears and what he finally has to actually, you know, talk about in regards to the culture and where it's going. So yeah, it kind of took that long. It took that cultural canon event to finally recognize that. But yeah, it's better than nothing. So anyway, let me know what you think. Were you ever a Jordan Peterson fan? Are you still? I thought this was intriguing, especially since it's geared towards women on a woman's show. So I thought it was a little fascinating. Nonetheless, stay cool.